another video. Today, I'm going to do some free online personality tests while doing an up-close quiet whisper. Some of you guys really liked this from a few videos ago, being extra close to the microphone and talking extra quietly. I know it's a type of ASMR video that I personally enjoy quite a bit, so I hope you guys do as well. We have 4 of these tests here today that I'm going to take. I don't put too much stock into quizzes like this, and I don't think that you should either, but they can be a fun little thing just to do, for the sake of it. The first one I found here is this 16 personalities quiz. It says free personality test, nearest type explorer. Be yourself, answer honestly to find out your personality type, etc., etc. So, let's start with the first question. You regularly make new friends. This is a bit of an odd one because I think the term regularly here is interesting. I don't really seek out to make new friends that often. I have a very small but intimate circle of friends. However, I do have a pretty easy time making friends once I get into social settings, like in school or in a workplace or something. I make friends pretty easily, but I wouldn't really say regularly. I'm gonna put that as my answer. You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. Oh, absolutely I do. I will watch multi-hour YouTube videos on just the most random of things. I spend a lot of time reading and researching different topics I'm interested in, politics, history, things like that. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. I think it depends on the circumstance. It depends on what they're crying about. Like those videos of soldiers coming back to their family after war, those make me cry. If something sad happens to animals, that makes me cry, but sometimes it just makes me feel awkward or something like that instead, so I'm gonna put that there. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. I do make plans, but I kind of prefer more often to be a bit spontaneous, just kind of go with the flow a bit. If I do have something planned, I don't really make a backup plan in the first place. I'm more likely to just stay at home and do something on my own if my plans fall through. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. I think that this used to apply to me more than it does now. I have a lot on my plate at the moment, and I've definitely been feeling the pressure of that, and I can definitely see where some of the cracks are starting to form in my day-to-day life. However, I used to be really good, and it used to be that no matter how many things I was going through, I still found a way to get everything done, remain cool and collected, so it's possible that the moment I'm just going through a brief period of not being able to handle it well, but I might bounce back and go back to how I used to be, so I'm going to go in the middle. At social events, you really try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I'd say it's 50-50 for me. I'll go into the middle, and then we'll go next. Okay. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. Sometimes, but honestly, this is something I struggle with, and I do like to have a lot of things going on at the same time to keep myself busy, but I'm gonna go right there. You are very sentimental. I would not say that I'm very sentimental, but I'd say that I'm somewhat sentimental. I like to hold on to little mementos and things that are important to me, but I wouldn't say that I'm very sentimental, so I'll just go down a notch. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists, so I am extremely unorganized. I do the bare minimum. I have a calendar, I put some events and stuff in my phone, but for the most part I'm unorganized, so I'll just do a click below. Strongly disagree. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. Not always, but it does sometimes happen. I definitely do get imposter syndrome sometimes. I'll click right there. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. I think it depends on the setting, and it depends on the person. So I'm going to go into the middle. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analyses of creative works. I disagree. I think it depends on the interpretations and analysis, but in general I do find that interesting. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. I would say somewhat agree to that. I can do both. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. I do agree with that, not all the way, because obviously we all have obligations. But if I have a set of tasks, let's say I need to get done by the end of the week, I'm totally fine taking a day or two, not doing anything, taking a lazy day. I'm totally fine putting things off. Kind of letting my mood dictate what I do, so I'll go there. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. Oh, I worry about that a decent amount. I'll go there. I'll like replay meeting people in my head and like go over every little thing I said or did to think if I was like cringy or something. You enjoy participating in group activities. It depends. I've been in some absolutely fantastic groups, and I've been in some groups where I was basically doing all the work and it would have just been easier if I didn't have them around. I'll put myself into the middle. You like books and movies, and you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. It depends if it's done well. Certain times I do like it. Other times it feels like they just did it because they wanted to do it, not because it served the purpose of the story. So I'll go right there. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. I'll go to the middle on that one too. You're interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. Strongly agree. That is a big problem in my life. I get very scatterbrained. I have so many interests and hobbies that I kind of like cycle between them, and some fall to the wayside for months or even years at a time before I revisit them. You're prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. I would say somewhat I am. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. I disagree. Depending on the group, I feel like I'm usually one of the people in leadership positions most of the time. You're definitely not an artistic type of person. I'll strongly disagree with that. I like writing. I like making videos. I'm not very good at drawing, but I'll still do it. I paint sometimes. I love having art around me. I love having pretty things to look at. You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings? In the political sphere, I agree. I think it depends, but for the most part, I agree. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax? Nah, I'll relax first, then do my chores later. You enjoy watching people argue? I actually hate watching people argue, which is funny because part of my political science education was doing debates and being in debate club and things like that, so I was arguing and watching people argue as part of my class lessons, but that actually makes me feel very uncomfortable. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. I think it depends. Depends on the setting, but in general, I'm okay with drawing attention to myself. Your mood can change very quickly. That is a problem. I do get some mood swings. My entire mood can be ruined by like a 30-second interaction, and my whole day is gone. So I'll go there. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. somewhat, not mostly, but some. It depends on their intentions. If they're being lazy, then yes, I'll lose patience. But if they just are learning or don't know what they're doing, then I'll be fine, and I understand. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment for the most part. Yes, I do. You've always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. I would say so. Not as much anymore, but for a long time I was. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. This feels kind of weird. It depends. I would rather be by myself than in a crowded room with hundreds of people. I get claustrophobic in big crowds. I'd rather be by myself than at a party with a bunch of drunk people I don't know, but a loved one, family, I'm cool with that. I'll go there. You become bored or lose interest in discussion, gets highly theoretical. Strongly disagree. I love theoretical discussions. You find it easy to emphasize the person's experiences are very different than yours. For the most part, I agree. If their experiences are way too different, completely culturally different, things like that, then I might have a hard time just because their lived experience would be so different than mine. But in general, I feel like I'm pretty good at empathizing. Usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Absolutely I do. Absolutely I do. You rarely second guess the choices that you made. I'll somewhat disagree. I second guess quite a bit. But not always. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. Strongly disagree. I'd much rather go out for a drink or a bite at a nice kind of cozy restaurant, or just hang out with my girlfriend and watch TV or something than go to a lively social event. You enjoy going to art museums? Absolutely I do. I love museums. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. It depends. Sometimes people are being irrational, but I think for the most part I'll disagree with that. You like to have a to-do list for each day? Strongly disagree with that. You rarely feel insecure? Strongly disagree. I have really bad, deeply ingrained insecurity issues about all sorts of aspects of my life. You avoid making phone calls. I've been getting better at this for a long time, I really did, but I've been improving at this, but I'll agree for the most part. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. The operative word here is very different. If someone was completely, radically different from me, I don't try to understand them, but someone who's just a few variations away from me, I think I try to understand them, so I'll go somewhat agree. In your social circle, you're often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. Not really. I'm kind of the one who's along for the ride most of the time. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. Not really. Depends how important that thing is to me, but in general, I'm just kind of a go-with-the-flow type of person. You are still bothered by mistakes you made a long time ago? Absolutely. I replay conversations in my head from a decade ago and think about what I should have said or done differently, every day. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. I'll somewhat disagree. I don't do it often, but I sometimes will get down these existential rabbit holes. Your emotions control you more than you control them. I'm usually in pretty good control of my emotions, I feel like. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it's completely their fault. I'll go 50-50 on that, depends on the circumstances. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Absolutely it is. If I do a video for a client and they need it done in a month, I might spend 2.5 weeks not even looking at the footage that I filmed. And then I'll take a week and a half and just bust it all out in like 2-3 days instead of working on it the entire month. Like, I'm not somebody who can just like put my nose to the grindstone. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it'll take them to feel disappointed in you. Oof. Yeah, I feel that one. I'm gonna mostly agree. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Absolutely, that is the preference. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. Now this is kind of a loaded question because I love pondering abstract philosophical questions. It's one of my favorite things. However, I feel like it is a waste of time to do it. It's not productive, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy doing it. So I'm going to go 50-50. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. What's funny is that like I said, I get claustrophobic in big crowds, and I don't like being in like big groups of people or in big social settings. But I do feel more drawn to those sorts of places. Like, I want to go to Tokyo, I want to go to Berlin, I want to go to New York City, you know, these places where there's a lot of people. So I'm drawn to those places, even though I don't like being in big crowds. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. Maybe not at first glance, but I do usually get a pretty good sense by looking at someone. You often feel overwhelmed. I do feel overwhelmed quite a bit, especially recently. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. I think that skipping steps comes with familiarity. So like now, like the things that I do all the time that I've gotten good at, I'm able to take little shortcuts because I know the way that it's done. But when you're learning things, you can't afford to take those shortcuts. So I think that skipping steps actually is the mark of somebody who knows what they're doing because it comes from familiarity. You're very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. I think it depends on why it's labeled as controversial. If something's just like blatantly false or misinformation or something, then I don't have any interest in that. But if it's like a banned book because it's, maybe says something about the government, or maybe something is like blasphemous in some way and that's why it's controversial, maybe I'd be more interested in that. So I'll go 50-50. You'd pass along good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. It depends on the opportunity, right? It depends. Are we talking a job? Are we talking? I'm not sure. I'll put middle. You struggle with deadlines. I always meet my deadlines, but like I said, I'm not I'll put no, but for different reasons than they're probably thinking. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Funny enough, I'd say I somewhat agree with that. Your gender optional. Let's go. I am a man. Let's see the results. Mediator. Personality. INFPA. INFP. What's the difference? Okay. Introduction. Mediators. What's going on here? Oh, I see. Your results. Mediator. Diplomat. Constant improvement. I can't scroll for some reason. It's kind of weird. I think it's the dark mode plugin I'm using. Mediators are poetic, kind, and altruistic people, always eager to help a good cause. 43% extroverted, 57% introverted. So kind of 50-50. 76% intuitive, 24% observant. Although they may seem quieter and assuming, mediators have vibrant, passionate inner lives. Creative and imaginative, they happily lose themselves in daydreams, inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their minds. These personalities are known for their sensitivity. Mediators mediators can have profound emotional responses to music, art, nature, and the people around them. Oh, this is like not working correctly. Strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so it's like this isn't really working properly. Well, I might have to turn off dark mode, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm sorry for that. That might look kind of rough. Introverted individuals tend to prefer fewer yet deep and meaningful social interactions, so can feel drawn to calmer environments. Okay. Intuitive individuals are very imaginative, open-minded, and curious. They value originality and focus on hidden meanings and distant possibilities. 57% feeling individuals value emotional and expression and sensitivity. They place a lot of importance on empathy, social harmony, and cooperation. 83% prospecting instead of judging. Prospecting individuals are very good at improvising and adapting to opportunities. They tend to be flexible, nonconformists who value novelty above stability. Turbulent individuals are self-conscious and sensitive to stress. They feel a sense of urgency in their emotions and tend to be success-driven, perfectionist, eager to improve. I do not want an email copy. Okay, so here's this. Idealistic and empathetic meteors long for deep, soulful relationships, and they feel called to help others because this personality type makes up such a small portion of the population. Mediators may sometimes feel lonely or invisible, adrift in a world that doesn't seem to appreciate the traits that make them unique. The gift of empathy. Mediators share a sincere curiosity about the depths of human nature. Introspective to the core, they're exquisitely attuned to their own thoughts and feelings, but they yearn to understand the people around them as well. Mediators are compassionate and non-judgmental, always willing to hear other people's story. When someone opens up to them or turns to them for comfort, they feel honored to listen and be of help. Empathy is one of the personality type's greatest gifts, but at times it can be a liability, and the troubles of the world weigh heavily on mediators' shoulders. And these personalities can be vulnerable to internalizing other people's negative moods or mindsets. Unless they learn to set boundaries, mediators may feel overwhelmed by just how many wrongs there are that need to be set right. Few things make mediators more uneasy than pretending to be someone they aren't. Their sensitivity and their commitment to authenticity. People with this personality type tend to crave opportunities for creative self-expression. It comes to no surprise then that many famous mediators are poets, writers, actors, and artists. They can't help but muse about the meaning and purpose of life, dreaming up all sorts of stories, ideas, and possibilities along the way. Through these imaginative landscapes, mediators can explore their own inner nature as well as their place in the world. While this is a beautiful trait, these personalities sometimes show a tendency to daydream, fantasize, rather than take action. To avoid feeling frustrated, unfulfilled, or incapable, meteors need to make sure they take steps to turn their dreams into ideas into a reality. Meteors you may know: J.R.R. Tolkien, William Shakespeare, Bjork, Alicia Keys, Tom Hiddleston, Julia Roberts, William Wordsworth, Johnny Depp, Frodo Baggins, Emily Boulain, Arwen, Fox Mulder, Anne, Sybil Branson, Lance Sweet, Constance Lewis. I'm not going to go through all this because I'll be here all day, but let's go to the next one I found. And I'll probably have this one be the last one. Let's switch back to dark mode there. Sorry about that. Just because the video is getting a little bit long, I don't want to take too long, but this is the Psych Central Personality Test. I feel most energetic and focused in the morning, during the afternoon, early evening, late at night. Definitely late at night for me. I'm not a morning person whatsoever. When I walk, I tend to do it fairly fast with long steps, fairly fast with small steps, less fast, head up, looking the world in the face, less fast, head down, very slowly. Definitely less fast, head up. I don't like to be in a rush. I kind of like to take my time. When you speak to people, you tend to stand with your arms folded, have your hands clasped, have one of both your hands on your hips, push the person you're talking, play with your hair, touch your chins with your hair. I'm always fidgeting. I can't keep still, so definitely this one. When you're relaxed, usually sit with your knees bent, your legs neatly side by side, legs crossed, one leg curled under you, your legs stretched out or straight. One leg curled under me, actually. Funny enough, I know notice that all the time because my leg will be falling asleep. When you find something really funny, you usually give a big appreciative laugh. A laugh, but not a loud one. A quiet chuckle or a sheepish smile. I have a very loud laugh when I laugh, and I'm not doing one of these videos, obviously. When you enter a party or social gathering, you tend to make a loud entrance so everyone notices you. Make a quiet entrance like you're someone you know. Making the quiet entrance, try to stay unnoticed. Yeah, I immediately try to seek out a familiar face. If you're focused on a task and you're interrupted, you're likely to, welcome the break, feel irritated, vary between these two extremes. I would say, depending on the interruption and the task, it varies. Your favorite color is, well, my favorite color is pink. I don't see it as an option here, so my second favorite after that, I'd go green. Before you fall asleep, you're usually lying, stretched on your back, stretched out face down, head on one arm, on your side curled, head under the covers, head on one arm. Man, they really got everything in here for me. When you dream, you're often falling, fighting, or struggling, searching for something, flying or floating. Oh, I usually have dreamless sleep. That is correct. The lively center of attention. Well, this is completely wrong. Others see you as fresh, lively, charming, amusing, practical, and always interesting. Someone who's constantly a center of attention, but sufficiently well balanced to let it get to their head. They also see you as a kind, considerate, understanding, so always cheer them up, help them out. That's, I'm sorry, that's completely incorrect. But I did those 2 quizzes. I found 2 more, but I don't want to. I think it'll be a little bit too long here. I imagine the other ones. Let's just do it. This is the dark triad personality quiz, which is, what is that? Narcissism. It's narcissism, sociopathy, and something else. It's not saying it, but 3 infamous traits: narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. That's right. I'm life of the party. Disagree. I feel a little concerned for others. Disagree. I'm always prepared. Slightly agree. I get stressed out easily. Slightly agree. I have a rich vocabulary. I actually do agree with that. I like using a lot of words. I don't talk a lot. I'll slightly disagree with that. I'm interested in people. Depends on the person. I leave my belongings around. Slightly agree. I am relaxed most of the time. Slightly disagree. I have general anxiety disorder, so in general I'm not relaxed. I have difficulty understanding abstract ideas. Disagree. I feel comfortable around people. Neutral. I insult people. Not really. Depends. Slightly disagree. Pay attention to details. I do. I worry about things. I do. Vivid imagination. I would say so. I keep in the background. Yeah, slightly. Sympathize with others' feelings. Depends, but in general, I'll slightly agree. Make a mess of things. In what context? I'll go neutral. Seldom feel blue. Disagree. Not interested in abstract ideas. Disagree. I start conversations. Yeah, I do. Not interested in other people's problems. Depends. I get chores done right away. I do not. Easily disturbed. Disturbed by what? Like distracted or like upset by something. I go neutral. I have excellent ideas. Excellent. I'm not sure about excellent. I think I have decent ideas. I slightly agree. I have little to say. I disagree with that. I have a soft heart. Yeah, I'll agree with that somewhat. I try to put things back in their proper place all the time. I get upset easily. Not easily. It takes a lot to upset me, but when I do get upset, I do not have a good imagination. I'll disagree with that. Talk to a lot of different people at parties. Disagree. Tends to be a small group. Not really interested in others. Slightly disagree. I like order. Not really. Depends. Change my mood a lot. Yes. Quick to understand things. Depends on the thing. Yeah, I'd say agree in general, though. I don't like to draw attention to myself. Depends, but in general, I don't like. I'd agree. I take time out for others. Agree. I shirk my duties. No, I just don't always get them done in a timely fashion. I have frequent mood swings. Not frequent. Well, maybe slightly agree. I use difficult words. Yeah. I don't mind being the center of attention. I don't mind it, but I would say that I don't seek it out, so I'll slightly agree. I feel others' emotions. I do. I follow a schedule. I do not. I get irritated easily. Not easily. Not easily. I spend time reflecting on things all the time. I'm quiet around strangers. Depends on the strangers. I mean, people feel at ease. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I am exacting in my work. Slightly agree. I often feel blue. I think we had this one already. But agree. I'm full of ideas. I do agree with that. It's true that I can be mean to others. I disagree with that. Avoid direct conflict with others because they may be useful in the future. Not because they may be useful in the future, though, so I'll go neutral. Make sure your plans benefit you, not others. I think plans should benefit both parties. People mess with me, always regret it. People haven't really messed with me. I feel embarrassed if someone compliments me. Not really. I'm an average person. Ooh. Wow. This might be a little bit narcissistic of me, but I don't think I'm average. Whatever it takes, you must get the important people on your side. Slightly disagree. Most people can be manipulated, I agree. Look at how serial killers do their thing. Many group activities tend to be dull without me. And actually, I disagree with that. I know that I'm special because everyone keeps telling me so. No. Generally speaking, people won't work hard unless they have to. Ooh. I slightly agree with that. I insist on getting the respect I deserve. I tend to not really care how other people view me, so I'll go neutral. People often say I'm out of control. I don't think I'm out of control. I like to get revenge on authorities. This depends on what authorities, what they've done, and why, so I'll go neutral. There are things you should hide from other people because they don't need to know. I agree with that. Payback needs to be quick and nasty. Now, disagree. Success is the best revenge. I hate being the center of attention. I don't hate it, I just don't seek it out. I like to get acquainted with important people. Define important. I'll go slightly agree. I've been compared to famous people. I don't believe so. I like to pick on losers. Disagree. I'll say anything to get what I want. Disagree. It's wise to keep track of information that you can use against people later. Slightly disagree. I've never gotten into trouble with the law. I don't think I've gotten like a couple speeding tickets, but that's it. You should wait for the right time to get back at people. Again, who are we getting back at and why? Let's go neutral. People see me as a natural leader. Depends on the people. There's some groups that I'm not the leader in. There's some groups that I am the leader in, so I'll go neutral. I avoid dangerous situations. I do. I'm very risk averse. It's not wise to tell your secrets. It depends who do. Like, I'll tell loved ones, family, my secrets, but in general, I agree. I prefer to do work whenever. Agree. I'm not good with schedules. Very punctual. If I tell somebody I'm going to be somewhere at a certain time, I usually show up early. It's just I don't make plans very often, so I'll go agree. I like to leave my options open and undecided. Slightly agree. It's more admirable to be organized and to adapt quickly. I think both are admirable for different reasons. I work in bursts of energy. Agree. Common sense is often questionable. I think that depends. I go more by facts than principles. Ooh. I try to go by both. I rather trust my hunch than past experience. It depends on the situation, but in general, I trust past experience, I feel like, but sometimes I will trust my hunch instead, so I'll slightly disagree. In writing, I prefer more literal stories than metaphors. It depends, but in general, I'll disagree. I start with facts, then form a big picture. Depends. I trust my experiences more than words. I'll go disagree. Anecdotes are not. You should not determine your opinions based on anecdotes. I like doing things that are new and different. I do. Sometimes I think so much about new possibilities I never look at how to make them a reality. Very often. I'm more interested in what is actual than what is possible. Disagree. It's harder for me to utilize others than to identify with them. I'm not really sure what this means. I often daydream about what is possible. Agree. I learn best when I see how to use what I'm learning. Agree. Do I have to enter all this? Skip. Alright. Test results. This one says I'm INTJ instead of INFJ, which is interesting. Extroversion 2.7. I'm in the 37th percentile of introversion. I'm introverted. Agreeableness 4. 62%. You are agreeable. Conscientiousness, you're spontaneous. Neuroticism, you're statistically prone to stress and mental illness. I know that. Openness 93rd percentile 4.8. You are openness. Psychopathy 0.40%. Machiavellianism 2.6, 40%. Narcissism 2, 20%. We got test results. Oh, that just takes me there. Well, that's certainly interesting. I hope that was enlightening. It wasn't extremely enlightening to me, except for I learned that I'm not a psychopath, which I guess is kind of a nice thing to know. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys.